Hi, stream. I'm muting my mic now. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise postgame show powered by BetUS. Today, the Portland Trail Blazers get absolutely embarrassed on the road in Houston, losing NBA Cup game number 2 and falling to the Houston Rockets 116-88. The Blazers' NBA Cup dreams are dead. They got off to a good start beating Minnesota, surprising Minnesota, and tonight this game was absolutely pathetic. And we're going to break it down on the post-game show. Eric, I think, should be joining us. I just have tried calling him, and he's not here yet. Maybe he's surprised I'm going live so soon after the game. But I could not wait. I just wanted to go live and vent about this freaking basketball game. You had the return of Anthony Simons today, and his return did not go so well. But frankly, this entire team played like crap tonight, and we're going to break it down individually. We're going to break it down with Chauncey. Some of the stuff is going to be stuff you guys have already heard before, but hopefully we can have a fun stream, maybe answer some of your questions, and all that good stuff. Anyway, hopefully you guys are having a good Friday night. At least the weekend is here. And at least for most people, it's a short week next week, man. So at least, you know, the daily grind of life, at least that... you get a little bit of a break from that because this was the Blazer team that made us feel like we need a break from them earlier in the season. They had a nice 3-game winning streak and then played the OKC Thunder tough. It was a good 4-game stretch for the Blazers, but that all came to a stop tonight. Now, why was that? We're going to get into why. And we finally have Eric here. What's going on, Eric? How's it going, man?
What's up? Oh, great.
You're great, huh?
That game was fun, man.
That game was... That was the most brutal game of the season. Not because it was even the worst loss, which is funny considering we lost by 28 points, but just the hope going into it after the way this team had played the past few games, and it being an NBA Cup game. And then just to come out like that and completely lay an egg is just like, I shouldn't be surprised, right? I should have seen it coming. but it's just so freaking brutal. It's like, whoops, I accidentally turned off my light. Basically, for me, it's like, okay, well, resign myself to tanking once again because you're not playing for an NBA Cup, and this team is back to looking like crap. And I'm not one to buy into a 3 or 4 game stretch. You remember that 4-game winning streak they had after trading for Josh Hart, where Chauncey finally had his guys, the year that Dame was out with that injury, and I was saying you can't read too much into a good 4-game stretch. Well, this is another one of those good 4-game stretches that comes crumbling down. And I mean, we've seen it time and time again under Chauncey Billups. He'll have a little stretch where this team starts playing the right way, starts playing hard, starts flying around offensively, and starts moving the ball, moving off the ball, playing off each other. And it always reverts back to the same exact crap that loses them basketball games, and it's happened once again. And it's just freaking frustrating, man.
Well, that's what anyone who believed in this coaching staff gets, right?
Brutal, man. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway.
It feels, yeah. I don't know. It's also like one game, right? So it's like hard to know but like, because they were doing this crap even when they won the 3 games and the game against OKC, there was half of those games where they weren't moving around, standing around watching. The offense was stagnant. We talked about the lack of assist in the OKC game, the lack of ball movement, all that kind of stuff. So it's not like this is totally exclusive to this game. Even in the wins, I don't think they were playing as well as it seemed they were playing.
I still think they were doing a better job moving, at the very least.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
There was a play. Absolutely. There was a play in this game that was very indicative of this game. And Shaedon Sharpe was being overplayed on the wing. Denny Avdia had to point and I think yell at him to back cut. 2 seconds later, Sharpe finally back cuts. But because Avdia is pointing for him to back cut, Amen Thompson is able to read the pass. It's telegraphed. Should have been an open dunk for Sharpe if he just back cut. But this whole team, man, this whole team just gets into these funks where they just stand around on the perimeter and don't move and just watch the guy handling the ball. And I mean, there was some terrible shots selection in this game from Anthony Simons, Shaedon Sharpe, Jeremy Grant, a whole collection of people. And the off-ball movement was just completely gone. Completely gone. The Blazers on this game, 17 assists, 20 turnovers. This is another game where they have more turnovers than assists. Their second straight game with 20 turnovers. And you can, people will just look at the shooting percentage and say, what do you expect? You know, they shot 33% from the field, 26% from 3. Okay, they're missing shots. The problem is they're turning over the ball 20 times.
Yeah.
They turned over the ball 24 times last game and 20 times today. I mean, we've talked about all season. Their offense is disgusting. There's no structure, but this is just one of those games where like guys just like put their head down and tried to do too much and weren't reading the floor, and then guys off the ball are just standing around like watching somebody screw up with the ball in their hands without trying to do anything to help them out. And it's just freaking disgusting basketball. And it's the type of stuff that Blazer fans were completely fed up with early on this season. But they go on a 3-game winning streak. We have hope again. We've seen flashes where the team moves the ball under Chauncey Billups. It never lasts. Never, ever, ever, ever lasts. It's always a flash in the pan, and it's always an outlier. It's always an outlier. There's a reason why they were last place in assist percentage last year, despite not having any ISO scorers that could score in isolation at a high level last year. They don't have any stars, but they were last in assist percentage. That's not assists per game. I would understand that with how badly they shoot the ball. That's assist percentage. That is the percentage of the shots that they did make that were assisted upon. Okay? Brutal, brutal basketball back in Portland. I'm so pissed, dude.
You know what the most frustrating part to me? So, like, first play, Anthony passes the ball and then just stands there. And there's like 4 the person with the ball was trying to drive, forgot who it was, and everyone else was just standing there, right? You look at the first play, the second half, we ran Anthony off of one screen, and it leads to a dunk by Donovan Clingan, right? And then we never do it again. Like, we just stand there off ball the rest of the game. Like, what is this coaching staff not seeing? Every time we run some sort of action, it's been successful. And also, it gets people involved. Like, why would you not want to, in this game, get Anthony like a good shot at some point in the first like 10 possessions, right? Or like, I don't know. It just seems like we don't have any sort of semblance of a plan on what we want to do to attack a team. We just kind of feel it out and hope that our ISO and pick and roll can overcome whatever team's defense it is. And this Rutgers team has some dogs on defense. You're not going to get away with that crap. Yeah. You might get away with it if you're able to attack the basket because Şengün isn't the greatest rim protector. But other than that, you're going to have a hard time even getting to the paint a lot of times if you're not moving and just trying to go one-on-one against these guys. They'll rip the ball from you. They'll stay in front of all that action. Like it's and they have switchable guys on defense. Like when Tari Eason comes in, he can guard anyone on the court and do it well. Like you can't just stand around and hope that your offense will figure it out in those things. You have to find a way to get your players good shots. And instead, like you mentioned, it's just constantly relying on these players. So, like, I don't even know if I could blame the players that much for taking bad shots and stuff because, like, they almost have to in this offense because there's no kind of option for them to do anything different.
If it's in the latter half of a clock, absolutely. When it's like 17, 18 on the clock and you're shooting a contested long two, it's not a good shot. Mm-hmm. And that's where it's like you gotta have the wherewithal, even though your half court offense sucks, to not shoot that type of shot that early in the clock. You can always get that shot. You can always get a contested long two at the end of the clock. Okay, so move the ball, screen away, cut. Like that's the problem. Is the Blazers have scores, but just because you're maybe I shouldn't say scores. They have guys that think they're scores. Okay.
I mean, they have some scorers.
They got some guys that can score sometimes. But even if you're a scorer, that doesn't mean that you can't get the ball moving. You can't pass, screen away, slip off the screen, try and cut, try and get some movement going. Okay, if you don't get anything, you circle back up, grab the ball. Then you can do your iso ball bull crap. You know what I mean? It's just like, that's the problem is you got no structure in the half court from Chauncey Billups. These guys constantly seem like they're playing out of freelance. They're constantly playing not in a set structure, and that's because a lot of their sets are quick hitters that don't result in anything, that because they're, a million handoffs in a row, and then, okay, somebody has to create something, or, it's you talked about that play that got clean, the dunk that they broke down in the broadcast, right? Like, if they defend that normally, Ant's getting the ball there, and he's guarded, and then he ISOs. You know what I mean? That is their offense. Their structure sucks. So they're playing out
this is better than not doing any screens at all.
I know, but that's the thing. It's like, wow, look, they ran a freaking off-ball screen. Wow.
I think that was the only one I remember this entire game.
Good job, Chauncey. You set an off-ball screen, and we got a good shot. That's where we're at, bro. That's where we're at. And this thing is like they beat Minnesota and put 122 on the board, and there were some Blazer fans that were like, oh, Chauncey doesn't get credit for this win. They shot like an obscene three-point percentage.
The highest in the NBA this season.
Yeah, that's why they put 122 on the board, okay? They shot an obscene three-point percentage. Some nights, you'll hit a bunch of threes, and the offense will look better. Every offense looks better when you're hitting freaking threes. But what happens when you're not hitting threes, or you're only hitting, an average amount of them? What else do you freaking do?
Or Tamani goes 1 for 7,
Yeah, I mean, they were guarding him, and he has to shoot, and he shot a decent three-point percentage. He 3 for 9 today. Like, okay, it's rough, right?
He hit his last two.
Yeah, and I don't mind him. He banked one of them in, but yeah. He should be shooting those shots. Absolutely, he should absolutely be shooting those shots. But the whole entire point is there's the structure of their half-court offense, the design of their half-court offense is freaking pathetic. It's like Pee Wee basketball bullcrap, man. And then when they get stuck in freelance, every player that ends up with the ball in their hands, all their thought is like, okay, how can I go one-on-one or come set me a screen so I can take a shot? It's never like, let me try and set up some action because there's still 13 on the shot clock. Let me pass and screen away. Like, that's the problem is when they're in freelance and the ball ends up in Anthony Simon's hands, in Jeremy Grant's hands, even in Shaden Sharp's hands, most likely a shot is going up and everybody stands around waiting for that shot to go up. And everybody just, like, that is the attitude and the mindset of this team is when we're not in a play, we're just going to watch somebody go do something with the ball. And whoever has the ball, that's their only mindset is like, that's what I'm going to go do. And that is the mentality of this team. And that mentality falls upon the coaching staff because, in my opinion, the coaching staff is responsible for establishing the mentality of a team. And if you got certain players that aren't aligning with the identity of the offense you want to run or aren't, don't have the right mentality that you're trying to preach, you freaking hold them accountable, you bench them, I don't freaking know, you figure it out. But also at the same time, it's like if you got a bunch of guys that can't do anything outside of a set offense, design some better freaking offense then. You know what I mean? Like, draw up better stuff. So it's just a freaking coaching failure, and it's disgusting basketball. I'm freaking tired of watching it. I'm freaking tired of watching guys play like they're at a rec league. I'm not going to talk about my rec league saying that, my rec league team has better movement and better passing, and we actually will screen away for each other. I'm not going to talk about that. Because this is a freaking NBA team. They should know how to do this stuff.
Yeah. But, like, at the same time, Ant, Sharp, and Grant combined for 22 shots in this game. It's not like they were, it's, and that's what's frustrating.
But they're all inefficient.
I know, that's all they're doing, and then they don't even get that many shots up because of all the turnovers and stuff. It's just
not a single one of those guys has been efficient this year. People wanted to announce that Sharp had arrived as a star because he had 2 good games, but Sharp, going into this game, was shooting 31% from 3 and had more turnovers than assists. Okay? And he had a 56 true shooting percentage, okay? And going into this game, 38% from the field, 30% from 3. He has 4.3 assists to 2.4 turnovers, so at least that's better. But Jeremy Grant going into this game, he's a power forward, mind you, 38% from the field, 35% from 3. Their 3 scorers are having horrible efficiency years, are like, Sharp's not down because he was inefficient last year, right? But Grant and Anthony Simons have had massive fall-offs with both their shooting and their overall efficiency. And those are guys that should not be falling off. And you have to wonder, why? Why are those guys so uncomfortable offensively? Why is their efficiency fallen off in the way it has? Even when the Blazers were playing well, Jeremy Grant was like a non-factor offensively. And in this game, 2 for 6 from the field, 1 for 4. He looks like a shell of himself. He looks like a shell of himself. Simons doesn't even look like himself. Simons looks like some you picked somebody up off the freaking street and put him in a Simons jersey. I don't recognize that dude right now. So
Yep. Danny isn't as good as he was last year. Tamani, of course, has had some improvement, but he's not shot the ball well. His finishing is much worse over the last few games.
That's also been a theme with this team is they don't finish well.
Yep.
Multiple guys.
Scoot's percentages are now worse than they were last year. It's like Ayton's obviously worse than he was last year. This is why, like, I keep saying I'm not going to get too high or too low with some of these wins and losses, because as long as Chauncey's the coach, I just have no faith in sustaining any sort of good play or good defense or anything like that. Like, I thought the Blazers came out okay in this game, aside from not moving much on offense. We get off to the 8-0 start. I thought the defense looked pretty locked in. It seemed pretty solid, but then Klingon picks up the 2 fouls, unfortunately, and then it was all kind of downhill from there.
Is there any player on this roster that has improved since the latter part of last season? Like, Takamara had his breakout in his playmaking. Like, since that time, like March of last season, is there any player that you can say has legitimately improved?
Well, our best player right now. This is gonna sound like a joke, but Chris Murray looks like an actual player. I mean, that's the only one I could think of. Like repair, I guess
but the only
it's hard to
reason
tell
Chris
because those
Murray
are
looks
guys
like
are just young.
the only reason
And
Chris Murray looks like a player though is because he's making more threes, right?
I mean, he's playing good defense. I know he played good defense last year and stuff, but um, I mean, he's moving. He's one of the few people who actually cuts off ball.
I feel like he did that last year though. Like
He's also one thing he's doing better. Like he had that one really nice drive where he got the foul, where he got the ball and he attacked the rim from like half court, and that's something he wouldn't have done last year. But man, I actually, I mean, we could talk about this later, baby, because it's kind of different question. But I've been very pleased with the way Chris has been playing. But to answer your question, I mean, outside of you get natural improvement from Tamani, Chris, and Repair from their rookie year to their second year. Outside of that, even that's negligible, I guess.
I want to say offensively, because I think Tamani has gotten even better defensively. Right,
but that's just because he's a dog, right?
Yeah. So like Tamani had a playmaking leap latter part of last year, right? Going into this game, I don't know what it is after this game, but according to Basketball Reference, he was like 63% from 0 to 3 feet last year and was 52% 0 to 3 feet this year. For an athletic 6'7", 6'8" forward that doesn't create a lot, 52% from 0 to 3 feet is really bad. And he smoked some finishes today. I mean, but that's just a common theme where like none of these dudes can finish. None of these dudes can finish. And it's
even Rodwell couldn't finish at times.
I mean, that was brutal. But it's like Tamani, if he's improved offensively, it's because he's making more threes. Because he's shooting 41% from three, right? His finishing, his 2-point percentage, last year was 52%. This year it's like 45%. And he doesn't shoot mid-range shots. He doesn't shoot outside like 10 feet.
No.
So that's bad, man. That is bad. I just like there just is not enough improvement offensively with a young, developing, rebuilding team. There's not enough.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of touched on this. It's, when they start to play well or win games, everyone forgets about it. But we're still in this weird thing where pretty much everyone knows that Chauncey's not going to be the coach next year. And, I mean, we even talked about it. It was, a week and a half ago, where every Blazer fan, I don't think there was any people left that didn't think Chauncey was going to be let go after this season. And then we win 3 games in a row and then play OKC tough. And then everyone's like, oh, maybe, but I mean, this has been a theme under Chauncey, man. It's just, so James Yang says we have no floor general. Yeah, I mean, especially without Scoot, running the offense, we don't have a legitimate, true playmaking point guard right now.
But you don't need. Here's. Can I respond to that?
Well, let me say what I was going to say to it first, and then you can answer. That's when I think you need to have better coaching, is when you don't have that and run better sets. But what were you going to say about that?
I mean, a floor general is not responsible for guys off the ball cutting. A floor general is not responsible for basic stuff like, if you have the ball at the top of the arc, don't have anything, you can pass screen away if you're not in an offense, right? Like, you can go, if you're down in the corner and you got somebody at your wing, you can go set a back screen for them. that is not stuff that a floor general is necessarily responsible for. Because if you're in a freelance offense, like swinging the ball's not always going to be in that floor general's hands. You still got to be able to do things. You still got to be able to do more than just like everybody stands around and watches somebody isolate. So in today's game, you see there's less and less floor generals. You still got like your Tyrese Halliburton. You still got some very gifted passers. But it's just because they're like elite passers. That's why they're still like floor generals. I feel like there's less floor general type of point guards. You have more scoring point guards. And you have more guys at other positions that are better passers than the league had 15 years ago. And now you see the best offenses. They can move the ball. There's multiple guys that can put the ball on the floor and make a pass, make a play, but they don't get stuck in the same stagnancy that the Blazers do.
Yep. And even if we had that, like you've talked about this with Scoot, I think it needs to be said with Simons. What are we doing to help them get easier baskets or to like do anything to help them play make? Outside of the lob pass, which is, I guess, our only real thing we've gotten better at as a team. Jeremy had a nice one tonight early in the game, but outside of that, what are we doing to get, like, Scoot has to take some of the toughest shots, outside of his open threes, like always contested shots or pull-ups. Anthony's constantly fighting defenders. Jeremy's constantly having to pull up, like in a horrible situation, in an ISO situation, when he doesn't necessarily have an advantage. Like we don't do anything to like try to free them up off ball or get them to curl off a screen or something. Like, what are we doing to get them going? Like we just expect them to create something out of nothing, and I don't think we have the personnel. We don't have a Dame or whatever to bail us out. So like, why are we running a Dame type offense without having that player on the roster? It makes no sense.
Yeah. Absolutely, dude. I'm just so freaking sick of the offense. I'm sick and tired of being a broken record on these post-game streams talking about the same freaking stuff.
I know, man. When I was watching the game tonight, I was just thinking, man, we're going to have to talk about the same crap again on this post-game show, right?
Yeah. Raymond says, what if it's just our guys are really dumb? Bro, you're young. They're young, but there's other young teams that move the ball much better than this. That's not... that's... What? Like, I don't even know how to respond to that. Like, at what point do players stop falling on Chauncey Sword? We've seen this with other players on the roster. We've seen these issues. Okay? Like, you don't have to be smart to cut. You don't have to be smart to move. You don't have to be smart to freaking pass the ball to the next guy. All these guys know how to run sets. They've been running sets for years. Even before they get in the league, they're running sets in high school. They're running sets in, even some AAU teams will run sets. That's kind of a more freelance. But if they play college, they're running sets. They know how to freaking run sets. There is no team in the NBA with players that are so dumb they're incapable of running sets. Now, maybe they don't make the right decisions as much, but it's like if we were running good sets and like missing passes, that'd be one thing. Okay, but
even Jeremy's had games where he's had some good passing games this year. Like, it's not like Klingon's a smart player. Rob Williams is a smart player. I'll go to my grave saying those are two of the smartest bigs in the league right now. I mean, Klingon needs some experience, but like you can tell he's going to be one of those guys. I mean, like, Jeremy's not stupid. Maybe he's not 100%. Maybe him and Ant aren't 100% like knowing where they're going to be in a few months, so they're not completely engaged. I think that's different than being dumb. Timani, I think, is a really smart player. Like, Chris is a smart player.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know.
Here's the thing: if you don't got players that are smart, teach them. Teach them.
Yeah, and so
it's hard to make it to a professional. It's hard to make it as a professional athlete if you're not at least somewhat coachable, because you need to learn how to become a professional athlete. You know what I mean? Like, these guys are, it's just silly. And the guy that made that first comment said, I heard LeBron James talk about dumb NBA players. So, well, every NBA player is probably dumb to LeBron because he's a freaking genius. You know what I mean? But even the teams with the dumb players still move the ball, still play off each other better than this, and run freaking sets. The Blazers have the worst sets in the league and the worst freelance offense in the league. The Blazers are easily, and this is statistically verified, they are easily, by far, the worst half-court offense in the league. And it was the same thing last year. And it's like, that's against other tanking teams, other young teams, other bad teams. Okay? Why are we so much worse? And that's where I get tired of the only way that people can defend Chauncey is by giving him excuses. Excuse after excuse after excuse for why he can't accomplish anything as the head coach of this team, for why his teams don't improve during the regular season. Because if you're starting at that low of a point where you're that bad, you should be able to improve. It's actually easier to improve when you suck at something than when you're good at it. Okay? So where's the freaking improvement in terms of our half-court offense? Even when we were 6-8, even after when we were on that 3-game winning streak, the Blazers still statistically had the worst half-court offense, and there was a bigger difference between them and the next team, the 29th ranked half-court offense, than there was between 29th and 25th place. There's more of a difference between 29th and 30th, us, than 29th and 25th. That's how bad their half-court offense was, even when they were 6-8, even after that 3-game winning streak.
And you remember us pointing that out, how the offense was still stagnant in some of those games.
Yep.
And people saying, oh, you guys are going to be negative again. You know, we just won. Like, just you guys should be talking about nothing but positive stuff, right?
It's just like, give me sustained improvement. We don't even have to win games. Just give me sustained improvement. The improvement never lasts. That's why I can't enjoy it as much as some other fans. I still enjoy wins. It makes for some fun post-game streams. But it's never sustained under Chauncey. It's never sustained. But then when it reverts back, it's like, see, they're a lot of people, there's less and less now. But, you know, there's certain media guys that will defend the coach at, you know, all costs. And they'll just point to the roster like, see, they're so incapable. They're so incapable. They're so incapable. Well, it's like you see them do it for a couple games. If they're completely incapable, they would be actually incapable of doing it for a game. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I'm tired of the freaking excuses. I'm tired of how freaking bad Chauncey is at coaching offense. And I'm over it. Like, he's the worst offensive coach in the league.
Yeah. As soon as I saw Anthony just standing there after he passed the ball on a possession, I was like, either that's what our offense is, or you yank him out of the game and be like, dude, why are you just standing there? Like, you know, and I would do that to anyone who's doing that, right? Like, you can coach this out of them, because if you are getting people to move, you think if Ime Udoka wanted his players to move off ball, do you think he would just stand there and not say anything and
with
just,
his hands in his pockets,
yeah,
bro?
And then just like clapping and stuff? Do you think he would be smiling on the sidelines during timeouts and stuff? Do you think that would happen if one of his guys just stood there when he had a wide open cut or something? No, he'd move his ass to the bench after he chewed him out. You know what I mean? And yeah, Billups will chew out like Nurkic or Ayton or somebody like that because they're easy targets, but he doesn't have the ability to get the majority of the team to do it, right? And that's why it's never going to work under Billups. He just does not know how to teach his players to play the right way, and if they don't, he doesn't do anything about it. So it's frustrating, man.
Yeah. I watched AJ Redick's post-game press conference after they lost that buzzer beater, and listening to him talk just made me wish he was our head coach, because like the way that he speaks, I know it's just speaking to the media, but it's just like he's He's just
He's in a.
if you just heard him and Chauncey talk, you'd be like, yeah, JJ Redick is a much, much better coach.
I don't know how long he can coach for though, man. He's taking years off his life right now.
He
But
cares.
that's the passion you want.
He has
right?
so much passion.
Yeah.
Give me a coach with passion, man. Like, Chauncey's passion seems so fake. Yeah, when they're getting their teeth kicked in and they're just standing around offensively, he's just sitting there with his freaking hands in his pockets. And then timeout, he starts clapping. They're down 25. And then he goes in the post-game press conference and he's like trying to figure out how to like what to say, what the right thing to say is. And none of it's genuine. So that's how you end up with quotes like, well, I told my guys, if you guys sleep tonight, you are a loser. That's how you get freaking silly quotes like that, man. So I'm tired of having more passion for this team than it feels like Chauncey does sometimes, man. I'm sure he cares. I'm sure he wishes that he was a winning head coach and building a legacy as a coach. But dude, he does not have the skill set or the wherewithal or whatever adjective. Or is it an adjective? I don't freaking know. Okay, but he just doesn't have it. He's just not it. He's just not it. Okay, and like to move on to the defense, Eric. There's this. Go ahead.
Just before we move on to defense, I just watched the first play of the game because I wanted to remember what I was thinking at the time. So Anthony passes to Klingon. Klingon swings it to Tamani, and for 7 seconds. Anthony stands there and Sharp's in the far corner standing there. Both of them do not even move for 7 seconds, just standing there. And Tamani tries to do a dribble handoff with Grant. It doesn't work because Jalen Green overplays it. And Tamani has to shoot a three at the end of the possession because no one else is doing anything.
Yep, from the jump you saw this.
We have our two. What should be our two best scorers just standing there on the first possession on the other side of the court, completely out of the play.
Yeah. Yep.
Why is that even allowed as a coach? You know what I mean?
Especially first play of the game.
We should be running a play to get we've talked about how important it is to get Sharp going early and have him be aggressive. And I know he hit a three. I don't know if it was the next possession, but I mean that was a deep three that wasn't even like an open three or anything like that. And so, why are we not doing anything? Why do we not have, scripted plays? I always talk about the NFL, but, good teams have, their first 15 plays or whatever scripted. And, a little bit might be determined by game flow. If you push the ball in a fast break, you don't necessarily need to run a half-court set or whatever. But, why do we not have, some good plays to get some of our guys some easy baskets right off the bat, so we're getting in a good flow of the game right away instead of just standing around. That's what we talked about. This is a horrible way to get everyone involved is just standing around and just watching the person with the ball.
They should have at least 20 half-court sets.
Oh yeah, easily, yeah.
To somebody who's never played, that might seem like a lot, just because 20, that's a lot to remember. Bro, I ran, in high school, we ran 20 to 25 half-court sets, bro. I bring that up to make the point that if it's easy enough for high schoolers to be able to run 20 to 25 sets and know the plays, professionals that are paid millions can do that as well.
They don't have practice time, Tori.
They've been, September, October in the practice facility, right? They get their runs in early. They got training camp. I mean, here's the thing, too. You got a lot of the same guys. You can do walkthroughs in the freaking hotel and drill your plays, man. We used to do that. We used to just not even with a ball, just, go through our plays and the timing on it in a freaking ballroom of a hotel. Figure out a way. If you don't want to run 20, run 10. Run 5. And we're talking. The problem is one of their sets is so simple, too. It's not like there's multiple reads off of it. I was talking about 20 sets where we had multiple reads, multiple different things to each one. They're not incapable of doing that. They absolutely are not. It falls upon the head coach. It falls upon the coach.
And when Golden State, you could argue, well, the best offense over the last decade ran freelance, but they had to learn by doing plays for what to do off ball, and then once you do it enough, it becomes natural. Then you're awesome at freelance because you're just doing the stuff that you would be doing if they were calling sets. You just don't have to call the set to do it, right? Yeah. So when the players are in this stage of it where they don't know how to move off ball or don't move off ball, you have to do something to get them engaged. You can't just expect them to like move off ball or stuff. Because like if you ask Sharp on that play, like what you're doing, like he'd probably think, well, I'm supposed to stay at the corner to space the floor for the people running the dribble handoff or whatever. Like that might be the case where he doesn't think he can cut on that or something. But like, so I don't know. Like it's frustrating because you have to teach them how to freelance. You can't just say, oh, we need to be better at freelancing.
Yeah. And I'm tired of talking about it. Rico says, we all know he's gone in April. Stop complaining about it. I mean, if we were to not talk about it, it would require us completely checking out for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean,
we talk about what we see. We see this every freaking night. Every freaking night. What else are we supposed to talk about, bro? When they do this every freaking night. It's frustrating. But okay, you want us to talk about something different. Chauncey Billups, for a stretch in this game, put freaking Donovan Clingan on Dylan Brooks and Jeremy Grant on Shangjun, and then Dylan Brooks looks like freaking Steph Curry because he has Clingan on him and scores 28 points against us, 6 for 8 from 3. Great job, Chauncey. Good job. There was also, I don't know how many possessions, it might have just been 1 or 2, but there was like a possession where they went to that weird matchup zone that they're running and gave up a Reed Shepherd 3. Good job, Chauncey. That matchup zone has not worked all freaking season, and yet you still try it. You still try it. What had some success recently was actually playing up at the level of the screen. And he was having Clingan do it, and Clingan was doing an okay job, and he was having Robert Williams do it. And it's like, okay, you got to force turnovers against this Houston team because you can't do anything in the half court. Did we do any of that? Nope. Good job, Chauncey. No idea how to coach either side of the freaking floor.
Rico says, but we already know he is bad and won't be here. Complaining does nothing. Well,
complaining lets me vent, bro. Well, I am venting. This is therapeutic for me, okay? If it's not for you, I'm sorry, but this is therapeutic for me.
We're talking about the game and what happened in the game. It was, Blazers got thoroughly outplayed and thoroughly outcoached in this game. So we just shouldn't talk about the game?
It's just... we'll talk about players. That's why we stream for 2 hours. We talk about this and we talk about players. That decision by Chauncey was freaking ridiculous, dude. Freaking ridiculous.
Oh, so now we can't talk about Chauncey because we don't go to practice and watch. So yeah.
Have you ever been in a practice, Rico? Have you ever practiced basketball before, bro? Don't talk to me about a practice, bro. Anyway.
Yeah. Let's
wait. So we can't analyze games because we can only analyze practices? Go ahead.
I think Kenny D has a great question. What do you want us to talk about?
OG Blazers Uprise goes back and forth with the chat in this way, so maybe people want OG Blazers Uprise. I mean, we can, because it's tough to talk about the same thing in different ways, you know. So I'm glad some people are on board with the rant. This game was so freaking frustrating. I was actually genuinely excited for this game in a way that I hadn't been in quite a while. And then they instantly remind me. Yeah, they reminded me why I don't get excited anymore. Very quickly.
You were really high for this game, man. Not that it was unwarranted or anything, but I mean, I agreed with you that it was pretty important game. If
They were
you're
actually
just
playing
looking-
for something for once, and they didn't
Yeah.
look like it. Anyway.
Do we just end the show? And, like, don't talk about it.
So this guy wants us to talk about the development of players, future potential players. I mean, what we're talking about does go into development. That's the entire point.
Yeah.
That's the entire point. Like, I don't know. The thing is with the offense being this crappy, I feel like it's tough to see if players are getting better offensively because they're put into crappy situations. And that's a big part of the frustration. Like, Sharp is not where he needs to be off the dribble to be a star. That's clear. Okay. But it's like, how far along is he, right? Because he'll have really good games and really bad games. But really bad games like this where everybody's standing around and you're not shooting the best, so the paint is packed, it's like, what is Sharp exactly supposed to show us off the dribble? He's supposed to try and drive into three players. The thing is, if he's catching the ball off of movement, or if the ball moves a little bit so the defense is shifted a little bit, that's when he attacks the best. In an offense with better ball movement, he probably looks a lot better. How much better? I don't know, because we don't do it. We don't do it. So that's the thing. If you want to talk about player development in this and that, like, it's tough to tell where certain guys are at with the way they play offense. It's tough to see improvement because Sharp, 2 games looked great. In a game like this, the offense is so crappy. It's like even a good player would look bad. And when you see good players that have been good before regressing, it's like, look at Jeremy, look at Simons. They're shells
It's not
of
age
themselves.
related.
And it's not age related. Yeah, they're shells of themselves right now. So like, other players are supposed to develop when the offense obviously isn't working for any of them. It's tough to.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Oh my God, Eric, do you want me to go off?
Sure.
Okay. So chat, we're going OG Blazers Uprise today, okay? There's a comment in the chat that says, my point in bringing up asking if you guys go to practice is because other media members go and say players are improving. Guys like Chauncey, so they see progress. Brother. Brother. I don't know who you listen to, but if you think the media that covers this team speaks gospel, that's your first problem. Okay? The media is very reactionary, but also has a positive bias to it. Okay? Especially guys that are cool with Chauncey. I mean, you had their freaking post-game show that's hosted by a credentialed guy say recently, apparently, that Anthony Simons, even on his worst day, is still miles ahead of Scoot. Which is just asinine. But Anthony Simons has gone on that guy's podcast and YouTube channel. But we're supposed to believe everything he says? We're talking about the same dude that argued with Eric that pace affects offensive and defensive ratings as if they're not per possession stats. I mean, if you don't know us, I get it. But if you know us at all, you should know not to come in here saying the media says this, the media says that. Cool, man. I do not care. I do not care what any media member has to say about this team. At all. At all. There's a reason. Part of the reason why we have this platform is because you need people that call it like they see it. You need people that aren't biased. Okay? I do not care what a media member says at all.
Yeah, and to be clear, what they do serves a purpose. I mean, that's needed to get the team's messaging out there. But this isn't what our channel is. We're not going to sugarcoat anything. We're going to tell you exactly how we feel as fans and analyzing games and stuff. And if you want to look at the media for that, I would say, I mean, there's a few exceptions, but most of the Blazers' credentialed media aren't X's and O's type breakdown guys. So we're going to struggle to find any sort of relevance there in terms of why they're struggling or things like that. So
also, people take that as a shot towards the media. It is not at all. It is a shot towards people that take everything the media says is gospel. Because guess what? Everybody is wrong more than once. And if you think that just because somebody has media credentials, that they are always right or speak some sort of gospel, you're wrong. You're tripping. Eric's wrong. I'm wrong. All those media guys have been wrong about multiple things.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing is, like, I can bring up specific examples where it's basically taking shots at media guys just by pointing out where they're wrong, but you should know that already.
We don't want to do that either.
I mean, yeah, you should know that already. Like, so that's entirely the point. Also, guess what? The Blazers practicing against themselves, certain players might look a lot better because the Blazers suck. Oh my God, these guys are looking great in practice. Look at the way they score against this defense. The defense is below average and the offense is terrible. Like, they suck. They are a rebuilding team. Obviously, offensively and probably defensively, they're going to look better going against themselves than if they're going against a real team. So I don't care what guys look like in practice. Practice doesn't freaking matter. I don't need to go Allen Iverson on you talking about practice. What matters is what these guys do 82 games a year. If they look great in practice and suck in games, guess what? Practice doesn't mean anything. Practice doesn't mean anything. Practice is so that you can get better in games. So if you're not getting better in games, why do I care about what the hell you're doing in practice? It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense.
And someone who is, well, first of all, let's be fair. It's not like they get to watch every practice or the whole practice. It's just like a little bit at the end occasionally, and then they have media availability afterwards.
Hasn't the narrative been to excuse this team? They don't practice enough, but now it's like, oh, well, they're improving in practice. It's always funny how stuff contradicts itself. Anyway, go on.
Here's the thing, though. If you got invited to practice and got, media credential, let's just say we applied for that, right? And we're actually given full media credentials. And we showed up at every practice. And then every show came on being like, dude, practice was brutal. Chauncey has no idea what he's doing. The team looked like absolute crap. Like it was just mistake after mistake, and the coaches have no idea how to fix it. How long would we still get to be invited back to those practices, you think?
I don't know, man. Listen. I would respect the Blazers so much if we, A, were credentialed, and B, were allowed to say those things.
Yeah.
There's other sports organizations out there that have guys credentialed like that, and they know that pulling away the credential makes it seem like they're trying to control the narrative. So they just, okay, say whatever. Say whatever. Like, for example, Grant Cohn is a Niners beat reporter. He's very critical of the Niners. I like Grant Cohn. He's very critical.
Deserve it right now.
Yeah. But he's very critical. And fans are like, why is he credentialed? Listen to the stuff he says. Well, okay, the organization is only going to pull it if they're trying to control the narrative, and when they pull it, it's freaking obvious that, oh, well, they didn't like your opinion, so they pulled the credentials, right? So, at the end of the day, like, I don't understand people that ignore games and talk about practice. I don't get it at all. I don't know, man.
And I mean, you've been saying this a lot. I don't think you've necessarily said it on stream very often, if at all. But just the way basketball in general is covered versus other sports in terms of breaking down what's actually happening instead of just a soap opera or whatever. Like we try to give you guys that kind of.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you're gonna sit there and say, "Oh, I went to a practice. This player looked so much better." Okay, better at what? Like, give me detailed breakdowns. Give me detailed breakdowns. And guess what? If you say they look better at X, Y, and Z, and then 15 games into the season they have not been better at X, Y, and Z. Okay, well, does it matter that they were better in practice at that stuff if they're not better in games? But that's the thing. It's just like there's a lot of, and this happens with a lot of sports organizations. There's always a lot of like sugar-coated narratives. We always heard Martell Webster put on 15 pounds of weight and looks like a beast before the season. Then you come out looking exactly the same. You know, like there's always these.
Matt Cardell's example: Ben Simmons knocking down threes in practice for 5
Yeah, exactly. There's always these like hopeful narratives, especially with teams that don't have much hope. Because in order to get people engaged, you got to sell some sort of hope. You got to make people actually want to pay attention to the team if you're covering them. And I think all media does this. Even I do this from time to time. Okay? Because while a lot of people like tuning in for our rants, and we'll still call it like we see it, it gets tough to follow a team if you have absolutely no hope and they suck. And it's not like there's nothing to be hopeful about with this roster. Those 2 Sharp games, he looked like a freaking star. But there's always some semblance of selling hope, and if you buy all of it, that's silly.
Yep. I mean, I don't think it's silly to necessarily buy into hope. It's just
you got to take a lot of things with a grain of salt.
It's silly to think that that's gospel, though, or like that's 100% like going to be that hope's going to turn into reality. You know, that's where people get in trouble. I think but I think it's fine if you want to hope that Shaden Sharp turns into that star we need. It's maybe silly to like say he's for sure going to be there, you know.
He hasn't. Sharp is unfortunately still a decent ways away from being a star in this league.
But like
he just is.
This is where it goes back to coaching for me. Like I can't think of a single time in this game we did anything to get him a good shot or to get him going when he wasn't seeing the ball. Like we had him standing in the corner half the game. Like I don't understand.
Yes, but also if he was a star, he would do more.
Yeah,
he would do more off the dribble. This was basically 2 straight games where he was a non-factor off the dribble. Also, I know like he has some nice passes. It's like, oh, look, his vision has improved a ton since his rookie year. He's averaging more turnovers than assists. He's averaging like 2 assists a game. And you know what I mean? It's still a work in progress. He's not a good passer yet. He's not a good ball handler yet. He's improved in both those areas because he was really bad his rookie year, okay? So there's hope that he could be good in both areas, and I think he can develop into that. But do not get it confused. Do not mix up what he could be and what he is now. And the thing is like he'll have a couple good games in showcase some flashes of stuff because he's very physically talented. And then people are like, see, he's a star. Tori, you were wrong to not believe he's a star yet. And then the next 2 games, he has 6 turnovers, 2 assists. Last game, inefficient, was what, like 6 for 16. Then tonight, 3 for 9. Had a couple assists, no turnovers, so that's great. But it's like, okay, he did not look like the best player on the floor by any means tonight. And sometimes you're going to have off days, but that's the problem with Sharp is like he shows flashes and he has like stretches where he looks really good, but he doesn't sustain it enough to where you can look at it and say like, yeah, that dude's a star. Now, that is completely fine. I don't want people to think that that's a super negative thing. That's completely fine. He's 21 years of age. I just think with him, when he has a couple good games, people get a little bit ahead of themselves about what he is right now, which is somebody that is very physically gifted with a ton of potential that is starting to tap into it, but still inconsistent right now and still needs some further development.
Murray says, Torrey losing it is my favorite thing.
Oh, man. Yeah. Tori, you're going to make me cry into my pillow again tonight.
Because this is what I also see, and I cannot frickin' stand this. Well, what coach would get this team to a championship?
So black and white. So
name another coach that would have this team winning this game tonight. And it's not about that, dude. Like, people are so short-sighted with things. And, like, you know, I see someone you mentioned a few minutes ago saying on Twitter, like, coaching basically doesn't matter at all.
You're a fool if you think coaching doesn't matter.
Then
I feel like the only people that think coaching doesn't matter have never, ever played a freaking sport. Or never played basketball, man. If you think coaching doesn't matter at all, you're a fool. And I feel bad for you. Go on.
And here we have, what's up, Riley Davidson? You guys are way too critical on Chauncey. This team thinks every coach wouldn't be able to get them to more than 15 wins. And so once again, it's not about the win-loss record or anything like that. It's about watching a 26-year-old guard who showed promise literally turn into the worst player in the NBA, and our power forward who averaged 20-plus points per game last year on pretty decent efficiency turn into an awful player as well. Our young guys not really showing that much growth from year 1 to 2, and now just watching. I mean, we literally won 21 games last year. Do you think we're worse than last year? How did we get worse? Don't we have like the same team plus Klingon and Denny?
Yeah.
Like I don't understand that.
Yeah. In comments like, you guys are way too critical on Chauncey, this team stinks, every coach wouldn't be able to get more than 15 wins. Comments like that are kind of annoying because we critique the process, but then you say we shouldn't critique the process based on what you think the results would be with somebody else. You're not even talking about what we're critiquing. Not even talking about what we're critiquing. And that's the problem. Anybody that defends Chauncey to criticism, it's never in regards to the actual criticism. It's never about the actual criticism. It's always, nobody could do better. This is not based on anything that we're actually saying. So if you're going to say what we're actually saying is too harsh, you better be able to address what we're actually saying. And that's the problem with people that defend Chauncey. It's never about what we're actually saying. It's never about the process. It's always, no coach could win games, so give Chauncey a break.
Yeah. So Kenny D, great point. Say this again. Rockets went from the worst team in the league under Paul Silas, and now, or Steven Silas, whatever, I forget his first name. Now they're third in the West with the same roster with Udoka. And they
500 last year. Now look at them right now.
Yeah, 2 years. This is Chauncey's 4th season as Blazers coach, and he still seems like he doesn't have any clue what he's doing. Yep. And Udoka, how many? Did you just coach 1 year in Boston before he got?
I believe so.
Was it? I think it was either 1 or 2 years, right? Like he's not. It's not like he's like been a head coach a long time. Look at Kenny Atkinson in Cleveland right now. And even with the loss last night, the Lakers look better than they did last year.
Lakers are much better than they were last year because of JJ Redick, and it's obvious.
Yeah. So if you're 4, it's weird, man. I don't understand how you could uh like
Oh my goodness. It's been a while since we've had some off the wall comments, man. You know what? Listen. If we ever think your opinion is ridiculous in chat, it doesn't mean that we don't appreciate you stating your opinion. Because it makes for good content. It makes for good content. And it makes for a good stream. Okay? Even if I think your opinion is completely ridiculous, I still appreciate your ridiculous opinion. Okay? I just want to get that across. Okay? This comment is ridiculous, Eric. Personally, I hope to see Chauncey get a nice extension in the summer. Guy's been through so much. He signed to coach Dame and now has to coach these bums. Give him a break. Brother, he has to earn his extension. What has he done to earn his extension? You don't give a dude an extension after having him for 4 years because he got a tough break and had to coach a rebuild. You don't give an extension for the lack of performance just because, oh, he's had a tough hand. What? Come on, man. Chauncey will be just fine in being an assistant coach somewhere else. Guess what? There's a good chance Chauncey doesn't want to be here. The Blazers wouldn't let him interview last year. Phoenix had a head coaching vacancy. I'm sure Chauncey would have loved to have interviewed for that head coaching vacancy. He wasn't allowed to. So, why are we going to if he's doing a bad job, why are we going to hamstring this team further? Because we suck. Oh, we suck. The coach isn't doing much for us. But because we suck, we're going to keep that coach and continue to suck. Just because we feel bad. They didn't feel bad with Dame. You know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about, bro? What are we talking about? It's just silly. I feel like I'm being trolled.
Well, and before you commented on his post where you're talking about that you appreciate the comments, even if you disagree with them or think they're ridiculous. We had someone in here who was a complete a-hole for months, had been banned on multiple accounts. We let him spew a bunch of crap every single stream for several months, and then he started back into these guys don't allow differing opinions. What are you talking about, dude? We've let you rant in chat and take over chat for months, and we haven't banned you. We haven't done anything, but now you're getting banned because you're making stupid comments about how we don't allow differing opinions. Like,
it's just so silly. It's just so silly because anybody that says that doesn't actually watch the streams. They're just trying to, or they're making stuff up. Because what do you mean I don't allow different opinions? I'm literally sitting here arguing with different opinions. I literally sat here arguing with multiple comments from one guy, and he was still making comments. He's still making comments. Just made one 1 minute ago. He's still in here. So what do you mean? What do you mean we don't allow different opinions? I mean, that's always been the biggest load of BS, and if you say that, you get banned for spewing BS misinformation. I think it's good in an 82-game season when the team sucks to mix up content to keep it entertaining, okay? This is the life behind the camera, guys, okay? If we just every single game kept it exactly the same, saying, what do you want Chauncey to do? The players just are not that good, and just said the same thing over and over again, monotone, mundane, you guys would not be watching. You guys would not be watching, okay? Now, I will never fake anything for views. I think I've made that pretty freaking obvious. But when people come in here sharing different opinions, it mixes up the stream in a way where it keeps the stream fresh, keeps the stream unique. And even if I think it's ridiculous opinions and argue with them passionately, doesn't mean I don't like them. Because it makes for good content. And at this point, the team does not make for good content when they play like this. So people like that in chat that come in and disagree sometimes make it a lot easier on us to have some fun on a night like tonight.
Also, for those mentioning the First Amendment and freedom of speech and stuff, That's against
Learn the First Amendment. Learn what the First Amendment
prosecution for what you say.
By the government.
The First Amendment does not give you the right to not get clowned for saying stupid crap in chat.
Guys, we are not the government, okay? Just in case you got a little bit confused, okay? Me, Tori Jones, in my bed, it's not my bedroom anymore. In my studio, I got a studio room now. Guess what? Even though I got a studio room now, that does not make me the government. Just because Elon Musk is apparently the government now, at least according to Twitter, doesn't mean that I am, okay? I'm not Elon Musk. I am not a part of the government. So if I give you a chat ban for something you said, I am not actually violating your First Amendment rights. And hopefully this can be something that is educational for you, because if you want to preach the First Amendment, you should probably learn what it actually means.
Yeah. Nowhere in there does it say you can say whatever you want and not have any consequences in society for what you said.
I know.
Okay, that makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, well, how am I hating on Elon by saying that now he's apparently government? Is that hate? Also, we're not going to start Elon debates, okay? We're not going to start Elon debates.
What?
Breaking Blazers Uprise doesn't respect the Constitution. Sick, man. It's going to be fun to read that on Reddit later.
What?
Chat's going to burn down now because I mentioned Elon Musk. Sick. At least it's not an event night tonight, Eric.
What? I find it funny that almost every time we get into something with someone on here, they end up being a certain supporter. It's very, very fitting.
I mean, some of our biggest supporters that we get along with are also the same type of supporter. It's just wild.
I know, it's just funny how, like...
Yeah. Anyway. Chat, relax. We might have to further restrict your First Amendment rights by banning that name from our chat, because we can ban certain words. For example, just try and say "Sco Ducks" in chat and see if it shows up.
Can you just ban that?
Multiple iterations of it.
Or just "Sco."
Oh man, I shouldn't have told chat that.
Can you ban?
I could ban a certain number, but that would ruin that would ruin the fun. Okay, I'll be a punching bag with that number, even though it hurts.
I didn't say it was bad. All I said was it's funny that the people who say certain things in chat always seem to have that view, and then it's just you can infer whatever you want into that, but I didn't say everyone who does that is bad. Tori even said we know people that on both sides, so.
Tori retweets a ton of garbage and misinfo on Twitter, but that's fine. I do not. Anyway, we're not going to get into politics, but if you have a problem with my retweets, let me know so I can block you from Twitter too and further restrict your First Amendment rights.
Look what the Blazers made us do. I did not say that either, Farrell. Gosh, I know. Sorry.
We are off the rails. A little early too. It's an early game and we're off the rails, but I love it. I love it. This team's off the rails. We are Tori. A reflection of this team. Okay.
Yeah, as Chappell points out, blocking doesn't even really mean anything on Twitter anymore because at least they can't respond to you, but they can still see all your stuff. So.
I mean, it is better that they can't respond because I am not trying to read BS. Anyway. Can someone give me a quick recap of the game?
Blazers actually started well.
But it was only because Klingon hit a 3 and Sharp hit a super deep 3, so that's why.
But the defense was okay, though. Like, they didn't score for several minutes, and then it was 10-9 for, like, what seemed like 6 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then Eason and Amen came in, and we just didn't match their energy from that point on, and Blazers basically just got destroyed after that.
Blazers got their 8th point with 9:09 left in the first quarter. The Blazers scored 2 more points and got their 13th point with 3:52 left in the first quarter. So that is almost 5.5 minutes where they only scored. No, wait, let me do math. 4.5 minutes. Almost 4.5 minutes where they only scored 2 points. Sick. They only scored 20 in the first quarter despite having 8 in the first 3 minutes. So that's 12 the last 9 minutes. I mean, just super bad.
And gave up 31 despite holding them to like 6 points after the first 6 minutes or so.
Yeah, the Rockets got their first point with 8:38 remaining in the first quarter and managed to score 31 points in 8:38. Yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal. It was disgusting. Jalen Green went off. He destroyed us. Made him look like a star. Made Dylan Brooks look like Klay Thompson. Prime Klay Thompson. So that was cool. Defense was just drop scheme, and then anytime it was adjusted, it was like, oh, let's put Klingon on Dylan Brooks, and he can hit threes, or let's run a matchup zone, and Reed Shepard can hit a 3, and we just get cooked. Offensively, it was a joke. Multiple guys had really bad defensive games. I think Sharp had his worst defensive game of the year. It was just one of those games where, like, Sharp didn't really seem fully in it. You know what I'm talking about?
No one really did.
Yeah. I don't know. Those games where, like, the team isn't in it, but Sharp seems, like, locked in.
Yeah.
Despite the rest of the team being bad. But there's just certain games with Sharp, man, where it just, like, seems like he's not fully locked in on either side of the ball. Defensively, he was pretty brutal today. Robert Williams wasn't particularly good defensively today. This was maybe his worst defensive game since returning. Shout out to Horde Director. Actually, we had a donation earlier from Antonio. It was a $2 donation. It says, Ant looks really, really bad. Keep him for the tank. Yeah, that's the other thing. Thank you, Antonio. Sorry for taking so long to read off that donation. I just remembered. Yeah, Ant looks like a shell of himself, and the offense isn't doing him any favors, but he looked much better in the same offense last year, so I don't know what the hell has happened there. He was 2 for 7, 8 points, no assists, 4 turnovers for Ant. Continues to be, unfortunately, one of the worst players in the league. Had some bad defensive moments as well. Couple of which weren't necessarily his fault. He's just an undersized guard. And they gave up at the start of the fourth quarter. Yeah, that's basically how the game went. Oh, and the Blazers turned over the ball 20 times. Again. 20 turnovers for the second straight game. They were 24 last game, 20 this game. So that's the game recap. Shout out Horror Director, $10 donation. Unless you wanted to say something real quick.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that I got the AI description of this chat, and it's actually accurate for once.
The one where it's like fans are being very critical.
Viewers are discussing the Portland Trailblazers game, expressing negative opinions about the team and coach. Yeah. So for a couple of people.
We're training the AI.
We're not talking about like the Phoenix Suns when we're playing the Houston Rockets and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So we're training the YouTube AI. You're welcome, YouTube. Shout out Horror Director, $10 donation says, how do we lose this bad to Houston and shut down Minnesota twice? I don't get how to get through this crap at this point. So I want to know, chat, if you guys agree with this opinion. Okay, I'm going to make a chat poll. Okay, do you agree with my opinion? If you vote no, you're getting banned, apparently. Just kidding. Okay? Do you guys agree with this opinion? The Blazers are only a solid to good defensive team if they play teams with only 1 to 2 shot creators. Case in point, Minnesota and Atlanta. Atlanta has Trae Young. Not much creation outside of that. Minnesota has Anthony Edwards. And then they have Julius Randle, but he's hit or miss. And nobody else that you'd really trust to consistently create. Do you agree with this opinion? Vote in the chat poll. Eric, do you agree with that opinion?
Can you repeat it again?
The Blazers,
I heard
the Blazers defense this year, and kind of just, this is a general statement, is only solid to good if they play a team with one or maybe two shot creators. When they play teams with more shot creators, they really struggle. But when they play teams like Minnesota, who has Anthony Edwards and then Julius Randle, but Julius Randle when he's off is pretty bad, or Atlanta, who basically just runs off Trae Young, that's when the Blazers defense looks really good because their whole MO is trying to force turnovers, and when you have less shot creators, you have an easier time doing that.
I mean, we've talked about that in terms of teams that didn't have a good rim penetrator versus teams that did. But I don't know, like outside of the defensive improvements personnel-wise, like having Robo healthy now, having Denny and Klingon obviously has been a huge boost for this team. Thank you. Defensively, I don't see anything like, other than not running zone as much as we did last year, that makes us incredibly different defensively outside of the personnel defensively got better. We got lengthier. We got more switchable at a lot of positions. We I don't know. We don't have to hide as many players. Like those kind of things will just naturally improve your defense. I think we're playing about the level you should expect with this personnel if not being coached well, if that makes sense. And so I pretty much agree that it seems like it's kind of matchup based on whether we're going to have a good defense or not.
Yep. Now they did play good defense against OKC, and they got. I mean, did they have multiple guys that could create? It's Jalen Williams and SGA. They don't have a third guy in that rotation at least. But Jalen Williams went off against them, right? Because you can't put Tamani Kamara on two different players, right? So, but still, like, they missed some open threes in that first half, right? If they shot the ball a little better, not a good defensive night, they still put 109 on the board despite not shooting well. But yeah, Jalen Williams got a lot of good looks against us. Yes, Spin, agree. Got a lot of good looks against us. He always kills us. And it's, I don't know. The thing is, like, Dylan Brooks is not a shot creator, and he killed us. But we just kind of let him shoot.
I mean, he thinks he is.
But, like, they got Şengün, who's, like, legitimate offensively. They got Fred VanVleet didn't do anything today. But, he's had some good moments. He's still a solid player. You got Jalen Green, who can really create. Tari Eason has been really good this year. But that's the thing is the last two games they faced young teams that are just as scrappy, if not scrappier than them. And when they can't out-scrap teams, that's a problem. Because as hard as the Blazers play, like during that 3-game winning streak, because I thought they played pretty hard. Did they play as hard as like Houston tonight or OKC when they played them? I mean, those teams do it every single night, even against teams that are scrappy. The Blazers, if they can out-scrap a team, sometimes they'll do it. But when they play a team like that, oftentimes it feels like they're getting beat to loose balls. And I thought that was a problem today. I thought there was a loose ball that Ant could have gotten, but he just kind of backed away from it and then went for it and was late. Jeremy Grant, it seems to be allergic to pursuing a loose ball, whether it's a rebound or a loose ball or a tip or whatever. And the Blazers thrived off chaos during that 3-game winning streak, forcing turnovers, deflecting passes, and being able to collect them. But playing against a young, athletic, exuberant team in OKC and then with Houston, They're not getting those same loose balls that maybe they were getting against a Minnesota or an Atlanta. And both those teams like kind of bother the defensive rebounders, so it's a little harder to get out and run. We really saw that with OKC, where they got multiple offensive rebounds by just hitting the ball out of somebody's hands. So it's just not the best matchup, but the problem is the Blazers, when they play a scrappy team, kind of wilter. And I think a big problem for that is their offense is so freaking stagnant that they just struggle against it, and it kills their energy.
Yeah, because pressure should lead to a little bit more opportunity for aggressive going to the rim, both for kick-out threes and also just getting to the rim, because if all the defenders are pressed up, there's not as many that can help as quickly. So you should be able to take advantage of that a little bit more. And Horror Director has another donation. He says, I mean this with no angst. When do we get excited about Portland basketball again? What does a rebuild look like at this point? And when do we get to love our team again?
Do you want to answer that?
Well, I would say I think it's going to take a new coaching staff to really get excited for me. But I mean, we have to stop doing this. Like I said, a week and a half ago, we were the worst team ever. Like, it sucked. Everyone was down. Everyone was disappointed on how the season was going to go. And then the next 4 games happen, and everyone's like way over the other way, right? Now it's like, oh, we could be a playing team, and like this team's way ahead of schedule now, and maybe Chauncey is a good coach, and like it's all happening for us. And then we lose 1 game, and now everyone's back to
we lost 2. But
well, I mean, okay, so we lost 2 games, but lose 1 like in a bad way, right? We're not a good team, so we're gonna have games where we get destroyed by a good team. And make no mistake, Houston is a good team. All these people who tried to tell me that we were going to be better than Houston this year before the season started, that was one of the teams I was like, I don't know what you guys. Some of the other teams, like Pelicans or Clippers or whatever, you could make a strong argument. The Clippers, I was like, there's no way. There's 0 chance we're better than the Rockets this year. So that's part of it. They're really good, and I know we beat supposed to be a really good Minnesota team that was in the conference finals last year, but they're like basically a 500 team right now. I don't know if they play tonight or what, but they're like 8-7 or 9-8 or something like that. Like they're so far have not been that team they were last year, and they made a huge change in the offseason, so it might not ever get to that point. But at some point we have to realize, I mean, it shouldn't look like it did tonight as much as it does. So I think that's an issue. And I think that is a coaching issue, because you look at a team like Memphis without, its top players can still go out and be competitive in games and actually win games and stuff, just because they are scrappy and they all play the right way and stuff like that. So it is frustrating watching these games sometime. But I mean, there's a reason why the over/under on BetUS was the 14.5 seed, right? Like this team was not supposed to be good. So like I don't think it does anyone any good. I mean, like I said, I'm not trying to tell anyone how they feel. It's just, it's going to be a rough season if you're getting the highest of highs after wins and the lowest of lows after losses. Like, this team just isn't good, and it's not going to consistently play well the whole season. There's going to be some bad lumps like this, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, they're not good, but they're also poorly coached.
Yeah.
The poorly coached part is the most frustrating thing, because There's less of an excuse for that than there is for a young rebuilding team not having as much talent. So, I mean, I get it, man. It's really frustrating not being able to, like, get legitimately excited with this team and have fun.
Yeah.
Like, that 3-game winning streak was a lot of fun to be in games like that. Winning the first in-season, NBA Cup game. That was fun, man. I mean, the Blazers did that last year, too, and then didn't mean anything. But, yeah, it's fun when you think you got a chance to actually do something in this NBA Cup. And just that 3-game, the tough part about that 3-game winning streak is I feel like there's a lot of fans that just, like, want that to be back so bad. So then when they win 3 games, it's like...
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean? And it's not that I don't fall victim to that, too.
Well, it was fun. We had a lot more people in here, It
was a lot of fun.
People are getting excited. Yeah.
Winning is fun. Losing sucks. Okay? So I get it. I fully get it. Thank you for the donation. Shout out to Braden Tennis, $5 donation. What's up with the broadcast crew talking about Cedar Rapids? Did we miss an inside joke, or is that all they have to say about Murray? They made a joke about it one time, and then now they
have graphics for it.
They keep freaking... Oh, I'm out of energy, or else I would really rant about this because I am so freaking tired. It is getting so annoying. Every time Chris Murray does anything, hearing about freaking Cedar Rapids, bro. Oh, look, right now we are 1,400 miles away from Cedar Rapids. You guys know how I was talking about how it's like tough to keep fans engaged in a bad team? Well, perfect example. Look at the Blazers broadcast constantly referencing freaking Cedar Rapids. And then look how much they have to promo their freaking post-game show on that freaking broadcast. It's so weird because I feel like Chris deserves to play a little more right now, and but I almost don't want him to play more just so we don't have to hear the broadcast talk about that either. I had a tweet about that. Last year I didn't want him to play because he was just simply bad. This year I don't want him to play. Yeah, I literally I'll read it off. I'll read it off. That's funny that you said that. I thought you were saying that because you saw my tweet. I said, damn, how many tweets? Damn, I tweeted a lot today. I said, I hate when Chris Murray plays. Last year it was because he was bad. This year it's because of all the Cedar Rapids references. It's so overdone. Almost as overdone as all the post-game advertisements every quarter.
I mean, I understand. They're trying to promote.
Oh, I fully understand. I'm just hating.
Yeah,
I'm just hating. But, yeah, I'm tired of the Cedar Rapids stuff. Can we please stop, man? They referenced it 5 times in 4 minutes. They're referencing Cedar Rapids probably 20 times per 36 minutes right now, Eric. That's a lot.
Did you hear the part where he talked about if they had a 3-on-3 team? The post-game show? Did you miss that? Are you muted?
I'm not muted. If the post-game show had a 3-on-3 team?
Yeah.
Please tell me.
I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. They would get run. But then Calabro said something really funny. He said they'd be elite at throwing elbows and arguing over calls or something like that. And that's all they'd be good at or something. Which is probably pretty accurate.
Bring back Rip City 3-on-3. Okay? Bring back the media division, which we were in before we started the channel, by the way, so hopefully we can get back into. Okay? And then let's see what happens with that game. We will live stream it, and all of you better show up and be like a legitimate fan section, okay? We want chance, all right? Unfortunately, we haven't had Rip City 3-on-3 since the channel first started, but hopefully they bring it back this summer. Probably not. They got renovations or something every summer now or whatever, even though I don't notice anything different.
Blazing Hug says, could we at least get a different player city to talk about?
I know.
It's going to be a whole thing.
Why can't we just rotate the player so we actually oh yeah, right now we are 43,000 miles away from Belgium. Isn't that where Tamani's from? Belgium?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're 43,000 miles away. It's that many miles to Belgium. Okay, cool. At least it's a little bit better than Cedar Rapids.
It's just when they took the joke to having graphics every game, how long it takes to go take a train ride.
I know. Like, that and then the Haberstros, like, it's not Haberstros' fault, okay? The segments with, like, the stat guy have always been a little bit weird. I think part of it is because they're in their own house, so, like, the audio quality is noticeably worse. Like, the mic quality, and it just sounds out of place on a broadcast like that. Also, I don't understand why it's that much worse, because I have your mic audio sounding better than that, so I don't understand it. But and then it's just like, I don't know. Those segments are a little weird. Like, I don't know. They're trying to entertain with the broadcast. I just feel like some of it is missing the mark. We have a top 5 broadcast. We have Brooke is amazing, of course. Brooke is great. Kevin and Lamar are good when they're not talking about Cedar Rapids. There's two things.
Okay.
No, there's 2 things they do that I can't stand, okay? It's the Cedar Rapids thing, and then can we please stop calling Uprise Big Daddy?
Why?
What do you mean, why?
Like Big Daddy Reef? Come on.
You please be for real.
That doesn't bother me at all.
That doesn't well, of course it doesn't bother
Blaze
you.
says you're jealous, Tori. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm so jealous. I've definitely never been called that before.
That's for sure.
That's for sure, yeah. I don't know. I think it's very cringe. I cringe every time. Like, it's kind of physically painful. You guys don't have a problem with that? I don't know. I cringe. I think it's cringy, bro.
It might be cringy. I laugh though.
Well,
because usually it's only in the game when it's like doesn't matter.
But they like force it.
Yeah,
they like force it. You know, like say it like once a game when he's in like offhand. And like if he like takes a charge or something, which Uprise does he take charges? But like if he takes a charge, you know, on a unique play, you know, there goes Big Daddy falling to the floor. Like, I don't know. Be creative. Instead, it's like he comes in, it's like, we gotta let everybody know that Uprise is Big Daddy.
That's his name. What are they supposed to say though?
It's like so Cal Raleigh of the Seattle Mariners, his nickname is Big Dumper, right? That nickname would get a lot more cringy if the announcers, every time he went up to bat, said, "Here comes the Big Dumper," and like forced it. You know? Instead, it's not forced, and it's a great nickname. It's a great nickname. Mariners Uprise coming soon. Stop forcing it.
I don't know, 2 years ago. What are you trying to get that?
What?
No.
No, what were you saying?
James Ant Simons is not on a max contract. Nor is he a star right now.
Yeah, none of the above. Horror Director says, I hate... $10 donation. Thank you, Horror Director. Appreciate you. Saving the postgame show. Says, I hate to be this guy. I just have to say it. We're conditioned as Blazer fans to get excited about the most mid players ever. I'm so tired of rooting for mid players. You are spitting facts. You are spitting facts. We had Blazer fans recently calling Delano Banton untouchable because he had a hot streak. when we got him for a second round pick last year for a reason. Look at Delano Banton tonight. I said this. Delano Banton, some games can be the best player on the floor, and some games can be by far the worst player on the floor. He was horrible tonight. Horrible. Just the turnovers were terrible. 0 for 6, 0 for 3 from 3. Like, he's a career 30% three-point shooter, but he shot 42% from 3 for 13 games. He's untouchable now. Yeah, I can't stand it either. I mean, Cam Reddish, Mario Hezonja, when we got him, like, it's always been a thing.
You know, Tori, it's almost like we should have tried to win when we had a top 75 player of all time. Like,
instead of hyping up an offseason where we picked up Mario Hezonja and Anthony Tolliver.
Yeah. Or Steve Blake and Chris Kaman.
Oh, goodness.
Gary Payton.
Yeah, Gary freaking Payton.
Oh, but no. Those Blazers Uprise guys are so negative.
Because we didn't hype up picking
we
up
signed Gary Payton and got hard capped and knew we couldn't make a trade then that summer. But no, we're like, yeah.
We basically said, like, this is our biggest move of the offseason. We're handcuffing ourselves from doing anything more meaningful than this. Here's our big move. We've been complaining about the lack of size for forever, but now you get 6'2" GP 2 weeks. And always been like, yay, good job, yay. And we're sitting there like, what the hell, and being called negative for it. And then when he has a comment on a podcast where, like, he's jokingly saying that he went to Portland for the money, and I said, that's not exactly what you want to hear. I got roasted for that. What happened? That dude did not want to be here. He didn't even want to play. Like, he prolonged that freaking injury. And then gets traded back to where he wants to be anyway, which is Golden State. And then we have a freaking Toradol investigation or whatever. That was BS. That was a big deal until everybody stopped talking about it, and then we never heard anything from it. That was the GP2 experience that we were just so negative about, Eric. Funny how that played out, man.
Yeah.
But that's the type of stuff we get when we have a top 75 player of all time. Now we just have to hope we get another one sometime in the next decade. You know?
Yeah. Well, some franchises don't even have one.
I know. It's hard to get a top 75 player of all time. That's why I always wanted to just take the risk to try and go all in, even if it wasn't going to get you a chip, because it's freaking hard. It's freaking hard. You know what's funny is, like, the Blazers have 3 young star guards. You're not stars, but, like, you know, hopefully they can become stars, right? You got Scoot, you got Sharp, you got Anthony Simons. The Blazers could have drafted someone if they kept the 14th pick, who right now would be our best freaking guard as a rookie. Instead,
maybe. Or Chauncey just have him camped in the corner, not getting any shots.
Well, his off-ball movement is part of why he's so good right now. So yeah, maybe he'd suck here. But it's funny because Jared McCain looks much better than any of our guards right now. We could have taken him with a 14th.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Connect.
Connect 2, man.
Yeah.
Connect 2. I mean, doesn't that hurt? Not only have both those guys been better than any of our, well, okay, maybe not better than Sharp, but Jared McCain, like the last 7-8 games, has been, I'll put it this way, okay? If Shaedon Sharp, the last 7 games, had the same stats that Jared McCain has had the last 7 games, people would be anointing him as a future MVP and, like, head over heels right now. Like, he finally made it. He's finally a star. He's finally the guy. Because Jared McCain in the last 7 games has had no less than 20 points in, like, every single game. Blazers could have drafted him at 14. I like the FDA trade. I'm starting to really dislike it, unfortunately. But that was Cronin's big move, man. I mean, the one time I liked a Cronin move, I shouldn't have, maybe. But also, Eric, that is, you know how we had the conversation earlier this year, and we'll load up Tankathon and then we'll end the stream. You know how we had the conversation, like, The Blazers just need to draft for best player available in this year's draft, even if it's a guard.
Yeah.
Having Jared McCain so far be better than Sharp, Scoot, and Anthony Simons this year proves why they have to draft best player available in this upcoming draft. Because you're talking about a dude that wasn't even a lottery pick.
Yeah. I was thinking about this today. I don't know if you saw the thing that the Lakers, Kings, and I'm blanking on the third team. There was 3 teams that were interested in Robert Williams, and people are saying that out of the centers available, he's the most going to garner the most value. And I was thinking that it was weird to actually have this thought, but I was thinking if he was traded to the Kings, it would make sense for the Blazers to have Devin Carter included in that, and I was like, maybe he'd be better than any of our guards. Like, it's
Yeah,
so
maybe,
weird.
Yeah, just randomly. At least he can rebound and play defense and kind of fits the mold
shoot,
we're trying to build with, right? Yeah. Yeah. Give me Devin Carter. Like, Eric, I don't know, man. Like, Sharp, I am sold on enough to be like, yeah, he should be here long term. At the very least, he's going to be a really good, like, 6-man scorer. I think that's kind of what he would be right now. I think he will definitely at least be like a solid to good starter in a system with more movement that utilizes his athleticism a bit more next to better players that can feed him. Like, he should be an off-ball menace that can do some stuff on the ball. Hopefully his three-point shot improves because that's been a struggle the past couple of years. Right? Beyond that, if you got like Devin Carter in a trade and then drafted a guard, and like, I know I've defended Scoot, but he's been struggling. And Ant, look at the way he is. And if that was your solution, where you got like a guy that you think could be a star guard, you know, let's say it's like a Dylan Harper with Shaden Sharp backcourt, and got Devin Carter as your third guard, like, I would probably feel better about our guard rotation going forward into this rebuild. You know?
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad.
Johnny, come on, man. Devin Carter isn't the answer. You guys need Monk and Sabonis and Fox.
We also need prime Giannis and Jokic as well.
Yeah. Man, you know who'd be perfect, Tori?
Who?
Victor Wembanyama. We should really call the Spurs and...
That's who we need.
Yeah. Scoot Henderson for Victor Wembanyama. There we go.
Yeah. Facts.
Sorry, Johnny, but...
Yeah, I mean, come on, Johnny. I don't think the Kings are trading De'Aaron Fox for Robert Williams III. Just going to put that out there. Luckily, our big board night's coming up on the 27th. Oh, Duke played Arizona tonight, huh? Oh, I wanted to watch that game, but I forgot that I had the post-game show. You want me to read off? Ooh, there's 7 minutes left in it. I think I'm gonna go watch that. I don't even have my. Oh, there's my phone.
That's...
You want to know what Cooper Flagg has right now? His stat line.
Sure.
Cooper Flagg, 19 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, 1 steal, 8 for 19 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3.
Well, Fallon said he was 3 for 12 at one point, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, so he is 5 for 7 since then.
Also, keep in mind, Cooper Flagg is only 17 years old. Like,
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, we just hope for
lottery luck. Yeah.
ping pong balls. Cronin's only way. We got to bring back the Rip City Retro Christmas music.
Rich needs a new album this year. It's got to change things. Wednesday for me, I think will also be a drinking stream because.
Why was it?
It's Wednesday. Day. I have a rare weekday off with my a rare night where my wife and I both have off the same night. And after this post-game show, probably gonna go somewhere. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna start before we go out.
Gotcha. Nice.
I'm gonna go to Top Golf.
My eyes are still recovering from the last shot night.
I know, jeez. You don't have to do shots or anything. I'm just saying.
We got one planned for early December, so I just need to not drink after the stream because that was bad. But if you guys missed that, this is why you gotta watch post-game shows even though the team sucks, okay? Nathan Roll, $5 Australian donation says, I'm not giving up on Scoot until I see him play under a coach that will make his development easier. Yeah, if there's any solace in, like, the young players, it's, man, if they had a better coach, maybe they would develop more. Maybe they would look better. Maybe things would be easier offensively by having more structure. And that's the hope. That's where, like, next year you draft a stud in the 2025 draft and you get a new coach that knows what he's doing, and that's when I will start feeling more consistently hopeful. Until that coach proves to have no idea what he's doing.
Yeah, and I mean, we said this multiple times because people would be like, see, that's why we shouldn't have fired Terry Stotts. He should have been our Jerry Sloan. Dude got almost a decade here. Like,
yeah. He had his own weaknesses too. Like, yeah, I don't know. Try and do better. If you fail, at least you tried. But, like, try not to fail, please. Please. Like, JJ Redick, I think clearly was a guy that you knew would at least be better than Chauncey. But would he have come here? I don't know. And Chauncey was our coach. So, I don't know. Hopefully the Lakers suck. Or, I mean, not suck because then JJ looks bad, right? But, like, maybe they lose in the playoffs, and since they love firing their coach, like, JJ has a falling out with their front office, and then he's a head coach free agent this offseason. And Chauncey's gone, and we hire JJ Redick. That is my dream. And then we get Cooper Flagg. Okay. And then we trade Anthony Simons and Jeremy Grant for Dame. And then we trade Scoot for Wembanyama, and everything is right.
So, Riley, I have a question for you. That your statement, I promise you, any coach we could sign is worse than Chauncey. I promise if you fire him, I'll remember this.
You're trolling. He's trolling. There ain't no way he's not trolling.
So, in order for that statement to be true, Chauncey would have to be the best coach in the league. What? What is that based on? Just check his career record, dude.
There is no way. He said that in all caps, too. There is no way that's for real. There is no way. I refuse to believe someone out there thinks that Chauncey Billups is the best coach in the league. Or we're talking to one of his family members, unfortunately.
Or Chauncey's got a burner in here. What's up, Chauncey?
What's up, Chauncey? How you doing, Chauncey? Tough loss tonight.
I'm such a hater, right?
Chauncey boarded the plane, and they just took off, and he has that airplane Wi-Fi, and, you know.
Check out what these knuckleheads are saying about him.
Yeah.
No, they're not even on a plane tonight. They're
Chauncey, can I drop some sets for you? Just like a couple, please? Please?
No good coach. So we're
want to come to Portland. So wait, how is Chauncey the best coach in the league? No good coaches want to come to Portland, but Chauncey is the best coach in the league in Portland. I think that's some sort of logical fallacy. Anyway, you ready for Kickathon?
There's lots of guys that would. There's only 30 NBA coaching jobs. There's plenty of guys who would come to Portland.
Riley, if you're not trolling, then actually stop thinking about how you can defend Chauncey and listen to our critiques of him and start thinking about those specific critiques instead. And you can still disagree with those critiques, but actually listen to the critique instead of trying to find ways to make it seem like Chauncey's great or Chauncey's good. Like, anyway, time for Tankathon.
While you're setting that up,
It's already set up.
Okay.
But what were you gonna say?
Our director made a comment that his. I wanted to read this because he's such a good donator. My wife hates how much I donate to these streams. She's like, "Why waste your money whining about basketball?" You got to tell her, man. It's your way of dealing with the pain of having to watch the Blazers, and we're not going to stop watching the Blazers because we're fans, and we're not built like that. We want to be there through the down times for when there is a good time, right? So, yeah, just tell her this is good for your mental thing to have people that think like you, or not necessarily think like you, but that you can vent with and share whatever opinions you want.
Tell her that therapy costs a lot more. There you go.
And
we are your therapists.
Maybe tell her to start watching the show, and then she'll understand.
Yeah. I know there's a couple people out there that will have us on and with their wife and watch us. Like, you know. That's why we don't cuss. We're family friendly. We're family friendly. Yeah, I mean, listen, like, you can probably spend a bunch of money door dashing a meal. Or you can save that money, donate to Blazers Uprise, and eat healthier. And then you're winning. And we're winning. And it's a win-win.
She was the Blazer fan. Oh, yeah, were you from Minnesota or something, horror director?
She made you a Blazer fan, and now she's regretting that with how much you donate to her.
Yeah, tell her it's her fault, man.
Yeah, she only has herself to blame. That's funny. That's funny. No, the donations help keep us running, man. Like, it's you know, things are better now, but in the past it would have been really tough to do things without the donations, so they mean a lot. Nathan says I tried to donate $2 and okay, I see what you're trying to do there, Nathan. I'm glad that it didn't let you.
You were about to just read that off, Tori.
I was about to, but I didn't. Anyway, Blazers 7th best odds, tied for 6th best odds, 32% top 4. It went up from 20. Let's go. We are rising these freaking standings. Toronto's even won 2 in a row, so we are 2 games back of 5th. And then you got New Orleans, Philadelphia. Milwaukee finally passed us up. Milwaukee's actually in a playoff spot right now. So they've won 3 in a row. And look,
2-0 in Cup.
Yep. So anyway, we'll simulate it. Scroll up from the bottom and wish for good luck. At 14, we got Dallas. Go ahead.
What's Rico/Eric/Kyle going to think if the Milwaukee wins the Emirates Cup? Then what are you going to say about Dame not being able to ever win anything?
Anyone we disagree with is Kyle.
No, it's definitely him. He just started a chat today, or a new thing, to streaming on, and he's saying the exact same stuff. And so
yeah. I always try and give people the benefit of the doubt, but Eric sniffs them out. 13 is Utah. 12 is Sacramento. 11 is San Antonio. 10 is San Antonio again. 9 is Brooklyn, moving down 1 spot. I don't know who moved up. At 8 is your freaking Portland Trailblazers. Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal night. Wish for better luck tomorrow night. At 7 is Indiana. At 6 is New Orleans, moving down 2 spots. And at 5 is Philadelphia, moving down 2 spots. At 4 is Washington. At 3 is Toronto. At 2 is Charlotte, moving up 9 spots. And at 1 is Utah. Boring lottery sim. The thing is, right now we can't even make fun of like Detroit for getting screwed in the lottery because they aren't even in the lottery. Tough scenes. Tough times. Anyway. Blazers get destroyed. NBA Cup dreams are dead. Dead and gone. Like the T.I. song. And Now we move on to play the same freaking team tomorrow night and hopefully not get embarrassed as bad. Because the NBA loves scheduling the same game twice in a row. I don't like Houston's arena, so at least we just get that out of the way for the rest of the season.
You don't like their arena?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Hmm.
Their cameras, like, I don't know, just...
Their court was very bright.
Yeah. Blazers get clowned again tomorrow. Does CB get fired? No way. You seen how many times that dude has gotten clowned and is still here? Nah, not gonna happen. Especially that three-game winning streak, Eric, saved Chauncey at least 2 months of job.
Corbin liked how they responded after starting the season. 3-7 or 3-8 or whatever.
Let's just ignore about how that response only lasted 3 games and then they sucked again. He responded well.
Well, that's literally what happened last year.
Yeah.
Remember that? Yeah. The trade deadline.
Oh, the bar.
Yeah, so we liked how that team responded after he lost by 63.
The bar is through the ground, man. I mean, what are we doing? Anyway, can we watch the Chauncey postgame interview? Nah, we're out of here. We're being live for 2 hours. You can watch it on your own. Let me know what you think. Anyway, appreciate you guys. Thank you for the donations. Eric, any final words?
Thanks, everyone, for watching. Hope you have a good night and day tomorrow. I unfortunately will not be on the show tomorrow, but hope you tune in and call in and talk to Tori.
Yep, it's a call-in night, and depending on how the game goes, we might do call-ins for the majority of the stream since Eric won't be here. Hey says, we don't get life advice now that Tori is domesticated. That's funny. But if you need life advice, you can call into the show tomorrow. Tomorrow is call-in night. If you want to call in, join our Discord, use the call-in feature and all that. Anyway, appreciate you guys. We're out of here. The Blazers lose. On to the next one. I'll see you tomorrow night. And until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.